We're Batman at 89. Hello and welcome to Batminute 89, the show where we throw evildoers into vats of chemicals 3 days a week, all while we talk about the Batman movie that came out in 1989. I am your host, John Parker.
And I am the other host, Niall McGowan.
Hello again, Niall.
Oh, how are you, John?
Doing quite well. Yes.
Sounds like someone's got a case of the Mondays.
Actually, this is the Wednesday episode, isn't it?
Oh, God.
I just realised it. God. So yes, this is a minute 29 of Batman. And the minute starts with the Caped Crusader showing his compassion. And it ends with a mysterious bubbling just after he's fled the scene.
Yeah.
Ooh, what could these things mean?
But this one now, this is like I think it's going to be a minute of potential contention.
Oh,
because the big thing that happens here now, I suppose, because it's literally right in the first couple of seconds, is Batman struggling to keep Jack Napier from falling into this vat of chemicals.
Yes,
and for years. Oh, actually, I will say before we get into it, we should say that yesterday we talked a lot about like what happened to Jack Napier's hat. And like we about the worried about its fate, and to see in like literally the first second of this, the hat falls into the chemicals. So
I know that's even more upsetting.
Oh yeah. I'm sure it was a fine piece of felt. So, but yeah, so that's one tragic loss this minute already.
Rest in peace.
But yeah, as we say that, like we get this the struggling though between Batman to haul him back up, and for years, like most of my life, basically, I always assumed that like because we know that this Batman doesn't mind killing people, that he was more like the facial expressions he's giving are more, he's kind of toying with like, should I just let him go or what am I gonna do here?
Well, I was going to ask about that, actually, yeah, because, I mean, I know we're supposed to think he's the good guy, Batman, and that he's trying to save him, but I don't know about this version of Batman. I mean, that look on his face, he's weighing it up, you're right.
Yeah, but the thing is, what I've come across recently is that, and I was talking to my brother about this, and he was like, "Of course it's this. Why would you never think? Why would you ever think anything otherwise?" It's that he's saying, "No, it's the facial expressions are a look of recognition, and there is right enough. If you look at it now, there is. It's when Napier moves his arm away and you see his face fully. Batman has a kind of like it's a look of realization, and it's supposed to be the indication that this is him recognizing him as the man who. Spoilers for the rest of the film." The man who killed his parents. And then that's what kind of gets to him, and that's why he's so sort of shocked at that. He's not concentrating and holding him up, so that's how Napier falls.
Oh, okay. Is that a thing? Is that like a fan thing? Because I've never, ever thought about that.
See, I never thought that either, but looking at it now with that in mind, it does seem to be like, yeah, I can see that. And then that's why, like, afterwards, when his head kind of goes back, it's really like, that it's more of a look of like that was him, that was the guy. But then, if we get on top of that, it's I don't know if that really works in the continuity of the film though, because and this is a thing we'll have to get to again in a later minute. But the indication of when Bruce Wayne realizes that Jack Napier killed his parents, it's supposed to be when he says. Do you ever dance with the devil in the pale moonlight in Vicky's apartment? That's supposed to be him going, because he gives him a look of like, what?
Yeah, that's what I always thought. That's the reveal almost.
So I'm thinking though, this may have all been chop and changing, and like that's something that may have been a late. Like all of this may have been a late addition because we know in like again we'll get into it in the more relevant minutes, but in the Tom Mankiewicz original script from way back in the early 80s, they had the Joker as a kind of almost like a Django Fett figure in the Wayne's murder, in that Rupert Thorne hired the Joker, who hired Joe Chill to kill Bruce Wayne's parents.
with worms in a jar.
Yeah. And then George Lucas totally ripped it off like 2 years later. But
and it ended with a chase through the city and a changeling. It was fantastic, wasn't it? I've read this.
But but then we get to then the original Sam Hamm draft doesn't feature that. The Joker's not, as far as I remember, the Joker's not linked to the Wayne murder at all. Like it's they do the flashback, but it's not an indication that Jack Napier is the guy who killed his parents.
No,
and I think then there
so.
must have been just some reshuffling in production, and they're like, we want that in, kind of. So can we rework this into that? And there was a whole big thing, and I think that might be why this is. If we were to take it that he recognizes him now as the man who dropped him, or who killed his parents. That's why it doesn't quite gel, is because it was only added in at like the 11th hour. So
yeah, and I think he'd have a bit more of an expression, because it's quite a strange expression he's got on his face here. Because he's also, on top of what we've previously said, I think he's also trying to maintain a kind of appearance. He's trying to hold on to Jack, but he's struggling.
Yeah.
But he can't let anybody know he's struggling because he's the Batman. He's got to look cool at all times. He's got to look scary.
Yeah. Well, again, I think as again in the original script, there is no struggle. Again, that's why I think this was a late edition. I think it was he literally it's Jack goes over the railing and that's him. That's the end of him. He won't be back. Or
Done
will
and
he?
Dusted.
Yeah.
Of course he's not going to be back. How could he be back? Oh, I've messed up my lines. Look, I'm that infuriated. I can't speak.
But yeah, it's one of those ones now. I'm sure maybe we could pose that to the listeners. Like, do you believe that this is the moment when Batman realizes this is the guy. This guy looks really familiar to me, or is that just no? He's just more toying with an idea of I could he's pretty heavy. I could drop him, and I don't think I would mind. That kind of maybe I should just kill this guy, but.
Well, another thing I think is confirmed in this shot, a fantastic shot, by the way, of Napier hanging there. I thought it was just really well framed. Because it wasn't the obvious way of shooting it. He's a bit obscured. There's some shadow over his face. But something that's been confirmed, I think, is that's got to be glass that hit him in the face. Look at those wounds.
Yeah.
We were saying on Monday, that's glass.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. It's it looks like it's because it's over both cheeks as well, isn't it? So it's
that's the thing, yeah. Although one of them is a very deep wound, though. So you could still argue it's a bullet, but you'd be weird to do so because there's too much damage. Come on, he's looking rough.
But then I did notice as well that we get a little bit more of I think a Tim Burton. Move in the set design here, because I can't help but feel that this vat of chemicals, this big circular thing that he falls into, is designed to be reminiscent of the end of House of Wax with Vincent Price.
Yes,
I'm sure you've seen the film, but you might recall at the end of that, Vincent Price's character he has a big bubbling pink circular vat of wax that he's gonna use, and then at the end he's up in a catwalk and gets knocked off and falls into that. And it seems like that would be, Tim Burton would be like, oh, well, if we have to do it, then I want to get a little visual reference to a thing that I like. Because
we know he likes Vincent Price. Vincent Price movies. That's a well-established fact.
Oh, for sure, yeah. And it even kind of works in terms of what we get then later of the Joker's character, because he's supposed to be a twisted, he becomes this warped artist who sees himself as some sort of artistic genius.
Yeah.
And of course, House of Wax is Vincent Price's character is after this horrible thing happens to him to disfigure him, his place gets burnt down. He then, his whole campaign is I'm a great artist. This is my art and all this. So it kind of ties in thematically with the character as well. It's it's a little nod to, the link between the two potentially. So
yes.
But, although I think Vincent Price takes an almost immediate, there's no distance between the catwalk and the wax, but Napier takes quite a tumble here. Like it's a lengthy old fall. So.
And the camera really sells this fall, spinning in a circle to sort of disorientate you. That's quite interesting.
Yeah.
But then when he hits the chemicals, and they splash everywhere, some of them splash onto the screen, like onto the camera.
Yeah.
I'm never a big fan of that. It kind of takes me out of it a little bit.
You just think you're too aware then that it is a camera. Is that?
Yeah. It's like I'm watching a documentary or something. Yeah, I get why they did it, but no. Take that out, please. Remove, delete.
No, it didn't bother me personally. I thought it was. I was just happy to see with essentially what we're seeing is the first meeting of Jack Napier and his greatest nemesis, Gravity. Because Jack and Gravity, they don't get on later in the film as well. But,
I've never thought about that thematic connection there.
Yeah. But and then I do love, like I mentioned, Batman's head kind of coming back as he's, after the splash, and the look on his face there, which could have been like, as I said, could have been like, that was the guy. Or it could have been, him going like, hey, he looks familiar. He's not certain yet that it's the guy, but he's like, that guy looked really familiar to me. Or it could be him going, like not another one. This is Johnny Gobbs all over again. It's just like, I really need to stop like taking on people on elevated spaces.
No, definitely. Actually, now I'm looking at it now. I am seeing it a few different ways, thanks to these potential ideas. Because it's a strange expression. He's very like wide-eyed. Like he's maintaining a sort of stoic look, but he's shocked. But what is he shocked at? That he failed? That it's the guy? You could be onto something here.
Yeah, I suppose it's if we take it as its purest form of like, no, he didn't recognize him, but he dropped a guy. It would be like, ooh, that's a bad death. That's like
yeah, he probably feels a bit sorry for him, even though he's a criminal.
I think it seems to be such an immediate death as well, because it's like if you think of other people you've seen falling into things, like the T-1000 falling into the liquid metal. There's a whole big thrashing around and like slow death and all this.
Oh, fantastic scene!
But this is just like as soon as he hits, that seemingly is him dead. So
yeah, right. Hang on, this is a question I have. Why do they all assume that he's died?
Yeah,
it wasn't that big a fall. They don't know what the chemicals are. Well, maybe they do. I don't know. We haven't been informed what they are. And, I mean, he's been in them for 2 seconds. Nobody tries to help the guy. Someone needs to get in there. Unless they're, like, it's meant to be incredibly corrosive or something. Well, even so, get the body.
Yeah, imagine it could have gone into, like, a horrible, like, RoboCop thing of him coming out with, like, the fingertips melting off. And it's like, oh, God.
Well, maybe, but, you got to try.
But again, though, it's... The guy who gives up is Commissioner Gordon. So
oh, what a surprise! It's Gordon, yeah.
Yeah, he's just like, hey, I'm not going in there. So,
well, he even says here, "God damn it, we had him," like in the past tense.
Yeah. I love his delivery though. Like again, for as much as we give Pat Hingle's Gordon, this past few scenes he's actually been really good.
I mean, he's doing well with what he's been given. The actor.
But I love the two contrasting deliveries within the two lines. Like you kind of into himself, just God damn it, we had him, and then looking up to Batman, and then hold it right there. This is really booming, like overly epic way of roaring at him.
Yeah, he very quickly switches from one topic to the other and remembers his other pressing issue, the bat.
Yeah, I do. Again, looking at the original script of Sam Hamm as well, slight difference in the line, but I thought it was interesting. He actually says in that script, it's like, hold it right there, mister, which sounds like a parent telling off their kids. Just like, you hold it right there, mister.
They probably thought that seemed to give this version of Gordon too much authority when he shouldn't have any. So, got to belittle him.
So trying to like make himself seem more booming with this, hold it right there.
Well, actually, when Gordon says that to him and we get a shot of Batman looking to escape, it really highlights that awkward cowl and suit. The way he's turning, looking around for various exits, he can barely move half of his body.
I think there's supposed to be like 'cause he tries to go both ways, and he has to do a proper lunge in one of the directions, and it's really like, oh, no, can't go there. But like, surely you'd think with Batman with his cat-like reflexes, should be able to do all that seamlessly. But this is like, nope, he has to sort of twist the whole body, lunge forward, and then nope, I have to lunge back.
Well, that's the thing. No matter which direction he wants to look for an exit, he does have to twist it, at least his entire torso, often his entire body, fully. He can't just move the head or anything.
Yeah, and even then, he tries to do like, I'm assuming it's supposed to be essentially like a, the eyes darting back and forth are sort of like, oh, no, neither way. But he has to again do it full body, like a quick, like snap it, like a robot snapping into place kind of thing. But it's all he can do. It's the only mobility the suit has. So.
It's a bit like the overacting you get in wrestling, because you can't hear them when they're in the middle of the match, and they're trying to illustrate something. So they over-exaggerate every motion they need to do. He's kind of doing that to sell it in this suit, I think, Michael Keaton. Because you can't just move the eyes. You're not really going to see it. You're not going to get what he's doing.
Yeah. But I would say, though, as he's like maneuvering for a way out, he notes cops coming up on one side, cops coming in through the other side, which is nice, like a nice shot of a bit of shadow play there. Of just seeing the silhouette of one of the cops kind of like gun drawn looking around, and I thought that was just well shot. It was just well done. So
yeah, well, Batman he sees and hears the cops coming for him, as you say, from both sides. So he throws like a ninja smoke bomb, which I thought there'd be a bit more information about these because they're in a lot of Batman games and cartoons and things, but there's not actually a lot online about them other than Ninja Smoke Bomb. That's just literally what they call them. I mean, I couldn't really find lots of conclusive, true information about the use of these, but they were real. They used them. It says the explosives were introduced from China to Japan, and I know in a lot of Batman stories he was, of course, trained in Japan.
Oh yeah.
So they got them in the 13th century, and they would release smoke or poison gas. Well, they also had fragmentation ones that exploded, And there is the Hapo, which is a small eggshell filled with blinding powder used to facilitate escape. That's another little device they could use, the ninjas.
Yeah, would have been perfect for this scene as well, actually. But as we see, like. I think like Batman trying to keep his aura of mystery about him, but so it gets the gas, and then I think like he's probably hoping, they'll never know what I'll be as if, oh my god, he just disappeared, but you can blatantly see him in the grappling hook going up to the roof.
Well, we can see the hook. I think that's the beauty of the smoke is they see him going up, but you can't, from their angle when it cuts down to them. You can't quite see how he's going up. Like they do, they just see Batman ascending somehow.
Yeah.
In a very controlled fashion.
I do love because with Gordon and Cop, who was a guy.
Cop.
I tried to find out who that guy was, and even though you can get all this information and all the Napier hoods, couldn't find out who this guy was. Couldn't track him. So.
Oh, after your good run of names on the others.
I'm sure there'll be some pointless extras that I'll have an entire biography for down the line. So I
do like the way Batman sticks to his theme that we've seen of him being, of course, overly theatrical, because there's no need for him to spread those wings as he goes up.
No.
It's solely to sell the Bat thing.
You think of anything, it would be detrimental and to like his speed. Because he'd be kind of creating wind resistance by spreading out the cape.
Yeah.
But no, it's like, nope, gotta look cool.
How high up is he going? And is there an escape? Or is he just going up to a pipe and sitting on the pipe? Like, I don't know.
Because he could be there like for ages trying to I should have thought this one through.
Yeah, what if Gordon and co just hung around for a while and waited? What would Batman do?
Although, again, with Gordon, he's probably just like, oh, he's probably gone. Let's go.
Yeah.
It's like and those two cops up on the catwalk, and the whole like their expressions like, oh my god, he just disappeared. It's like,
yeah. And Gordon doesn't seem that shocked. He's kind of just like, until we find out what this is, keep a lid on it.
Mm.
That's it.
Yeah, I do like his keeping his cool there. He's not bought in like the criminals to be like it's some kind of monster. He's just like this is something weird, but like let's not press it too much just yet. Let's not get this out to people until we find out what's happening here. So
yeah.
But and then so we from that we get a cut to the outside of Axis Chemicals again. I think.
Yes.
That's the next shot, isn't it? And then,
it is. Yeah. And somehow Batman did escape, so that clarifies what we were talking about.
This is like 3 hours later. It's like,
it could be.
Thank God those cops finally left.
Well, this shot of him that you see him by the Axis sign, to me, this tells you that we are watching a movie from the 80s. Like the color scheme here, the sort of neon Axis light with there's like a soft sort of pink glow coming off it, and then there's blue light behind it. It's very 80s.
Mm-hmm. But it's kind of almost like a Blade Runner-esque in some ways. Or the Blade Runner poster, at least, with the bright red title, and then usually blue background and stuff. But
well, I love the way that Blade Runner poster / cover doesn't really look like a poster for that movie. It doesn't sort of capture the mood. It looks like another Star Wars or something. In fact, it's done almost exactly the same as the Star Wars posters.
I've seen like some really like good minimalist like fan posters for Blade Runner where it was just literally like the origami unicorn, just like a little drawing of that, and then this Blade Runner underneath. It's like that's all you need. But like that's me personally. I'm always like, the minimalist and vague. That's what you need in a poster.
I can understand how they might not go with that though, because if you don't know anything about it at all and you saw that, you'd be very confused. Unlike with the Batman poster, which was very clear. Yeah.
But the thing is, they did actually with I remember when the Dark Knight finally came out, because they had originally like a teaser poster, which I thought was way better than the actual poster, because the usual poster was was Batman standing with his back to this huge building with the bat symbol like flaming on it, like an explosion had happened, and it made the shape of the bat symbol behind him. But there used to be, before that, there was a poster. It was a white wall, and it was the bat symbol done, kind of smeared on in lipstick, and it had 2 black circles, so it kind of looked like the Joker's face. And I was like, that's way better. Like
that is cool, and you still know what it is.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah. But they were just like, no, we want to get Batman himself on the poster and just make it look like, oh, there's a big explosion, hey, action. It's like, I'm pretty sure people are going to know, well, if it's Batman, it's bound to have some action in it. So,
well, you'd think so, yeah. Well, speaking of action, we cut back inside the plant again now, into some kind of, it's like a pool. Is that where they like run off? I don't know what that is. Yeah. Is it where they like clean out the tanks or run off the chemicals or something? Because it's just pure water.
Well, it seems to be, presumably some kind of drainage system. So it's like, I've assumed it was everything mixed in with water, been dumped down into like the sewer or the river.
I'm assuming, they like empty the tanks out into it, because, well, we don't know who it is or what it is. But as the minute comes to a close, we see bubbles forming under the water. Ooh, is there someone there?
Potentially, but we'll have to find out on Friday, I guess, because that's the action of the minute done, really, isn't it? So,
well, I don't know who it could be. It certainly couldn't be Napier, because we've just seen him die. So it's got to be someone new. It's got to be Killer Croc.
That would be like so many people have been really disappointed that they went to see this film. Like, I thought it was gonna be, they had Jack Nicholson just for like the first 25 minutes, and then they got Killer Croc in instead.
I am actually surprised. This seems like the exact kind of movie where you would bring someone like Jack Nicholson in for 5 minutes. You know, like an old B movie, like a grindhouse film where you. Well, actually, Planet Terror did it, didn't they, with Bruce Willis? They were making fun of that, where you'd have a major star in for like 2 scenes, and you'd put his name at the top of the poster.
Actually, I might leave it until he shows back up in the film. But I did watch what do you call it, Alone in the Dark during the week, because as of the week of recording, this is the week Martin Landau died, and I was like, I want to put on a Martin Landau film. And it's a horror film he did in the early 80s, but it's one of at the front, everything's Jack Palance. He's the star. He's the big draw. And he's like, Martin Landau's doing all the heavy lifting. Jack Palance is in maybe 4 scenes. And it's you kind of forget that he's there. And then at the end, he's the big guy they have to defeat. And it's like, oh yeah, I forgot about him. Like he was... But
he was actually in the film.
Just like we had him for 2 days. We did the one scene in that one set the day before. And then we did the ending with him the next day. And that was his paycheck. So...
You wouldn't mind like big actors turning up for tiny roles like that if they were. I'm not saying he was. Let me just clarify. But if they weren't too egotistical about it and wanted like top billing or at least very high up the billing, because a lot of the time they do, which is the upsetting thing. Because I mean, if I was a big actor, I would do like say like what Daniel Craig did with The Force Awakens. He just sort of turned up and was like, "Got anything for me? Yeah, okay, I'll do it."
Yeah. Or as the. It won't be a hot topic by the time this comes to air, but this week, the Ed Sheeran cameo in Game of Thrones.
Oh,
where it's like, it could have been, to be fair to them, that could have been a subtle cameo, but they jammed the camera right in his face for like 2 seconds too long. It's like, I know it's him. Get him off the screen. Yeah. What are you doing?
All they had to do was just trim that bit out. Just don't have that lingering shot, and I think people will be happy.
But, yeah, for sure. But yeah, one thing I wanted to bring up for this minute, like while, because now the action's over, unless you have anything else in the action-wise in your notes to comment on.
No, my sole note remaining has pretty much been touched on, where I was just going to say, Batman doesn't drop Jack originally in the first draft. As you said, he falls over the railing, but it's because a young cop comes and shoots him in the arm because he's a bit unsure of himself. He's a bit, he's new, he's untrained. He comes in, he shoots Jack in the arm, he falls over the edge.
Yeah.
It's not really that dramatic or interesting.
But, we've had like various iterations of the origin of the Joker and him going into the chemicals. But I think this one was like very much like referenced in more recent iterations with... Because as we said yesterday, with the man behind the Red Hood, and then the Killing Joke had the Red Hood just jumps. He jumps voluntarily into the chemicals, either out of I gotta get out of here or I'm really scared. But it's Scott Snyder's recent Batman Year Zero.
Oh,
which is or is Batman 0 year? Sorry, as I should try to get
0 year. Is that what it's called? I thought it was Year 0 as well, just because of Year 1.
But they have a whole thing with the Red Hood gang, and then at the end of that's a thing where everyone, like the entire gang, are always wearing red hoods, and you never see Red Hood 1's face, who's the main guy. Right. And then they obviously have the big all the business going down in the chemical plant. And then there is an iteration of he's almost going to fall off, and Batman's sort of saying like, oh, "Come on," the hand out to him. It's like, let's go, like it's over. And then Red Hood 1 says, like, "No, it's only just begun," and then just lets himself fall into the chemicals.
Oh, I like that. That's much better.
Although that's a very cocksure kind of thing to say, because like you don't know that you're going to survive going into those things. So.
To be fair, yeah, you don't know you're going to not only survive but be kind of enhanced / damaged, depending. Oh, I shouldn't say damaged. That will make people think of Suicide Squad.
No. Well, I didn't until you mentioned it. So
sorry, and sorry to the fans of that, because there are plenty, as I've discovered through Twitter. Yeah. So we don't upset you. We don't want to go there.
But one thing I thought, like, we'll just throw in a few details of because we didn't do it in these other minutes. But this is the last time we really see or spend any real time with Gordon.
Oh yeah,
pretty much for the rest of the film. Like he's there, but he's not as any level of the focal point that he is in these scenes. So
it's a shame because he's just got cool.
Yeah,
I want more Gordon. Damn it.
But I'll throw out a few basic Gordon facts, because I don't think we did it in his other minutes. So
Gordon facts.
Yeah. So today on Gordon facts, is the character of James Gordon. Was created by, who do you think created James Gordon, John?
I'm going to take a stab in the dark, right? I know this isn't right. Bill Finger.
That seems to be true, yes.
Oh, yeah.
As it says on the Wikipedia page, created by Bill Finger, but credited to Bob Kane.
Oh.
But apparently he debuted in the first panel of Detective Comics number 27 in May 1939. And apparently that is the first Batman story. So he's there from like the get-go, apparently.
I mean, I know the age of these comics, but whenever you read those dates out, it blows me away. It's that old. That's crazy.
But it says, the character's name was taken from the earlier pulp character, Commissioner James W. Wildcat Gordon, also known as the Whisperer, from created in 1936 by Henry Ralston for Street and Smith. So,
this Gordon, he isn't a wildcat. Come on.
No, not at all. Not even kind of, sort of. But so it appears in the Detective Comics 27, the very first Batman story, in which they both investigate the murder of a chemical industrialist, which is
that's
it kind of ties in here. Initially, Gordon doesn't like Batman, but then they grow to be friends. So.
Oh, I never saw that coming.
And in a weird kind of tying into like, the Batman, or this iteration of Batman's willingness to just friggin', kill people, and then his whole struggle with Jack Napier. There's panels, and I'll put them up on the page when this episode airs. Of it from that story. Batman just flat out punching a guy into an acid tank, and then someone's like, he's falling right into the acid tank, and Batman's just like, a fitting end for his kind.
If he dies, he dies.
Yeah, so it's back in the old. This guy, he'll kill you, no problem. Don't you worry about it. So,
I mean, that certainly adds an extra layer of terror to the Bat. I'll be honest, if he'll just batter you into toxic waste.
Yeah. It's one of those things. Like, I suppose it'll be an element we'll probably talk about later on. But I always thought people always said that was a plot gap in the Dark Knight, where it's like, why is Batman taking the blame for these murders at the end? Why isn't he just pinning them on the Joker and just been like, who are you going to believe, me or the Joker? And but he picks them on himself. But at the time after the film came out, I remember thinking like, well, the explanation for that would be that because Maroney says to him earlier in the film, like, we're wise to your act. We know you're not going to kill us. And he might have been like, if they think I killed these people, then as Batman, I'm more fearsome now. And that worked great up until The Dark Knight Rises came out. And you find out he hadn't been Batman for like 8 years. And I was like, no, he just tarnished his reputation for no
reason.
Yeah, again, could have just pinned it on the Joker. It's like, no, he killed those people. that would be the end of that. The whole lying to protect Harvey Dent's reputation would have worked perfectly, but you just had to pin it on the guy who was already killing everybody. So,
well, you mentioned tarnishing reputation, and you're talking about the third movie in that trilogy, tarnishing the reputation of the other two.
Yeah.
I'm going to get hate mail for that.
But, anyway, I did have all the other things too, like a little brief list of men who have played Commissioner Gordon, because it's actually a very impressive list. It's he was played notably in the 1960s TV show and film by Neil Hamilton, who's a distant cousin to Margaret Hamilton, who played the Wicked Witch of the West.
Oh, okay.
I think someone actually wrote on our Twitter, when we had... Might have even been the first episode when we talked about Pat Hingle's credits. And it's true, they pointed out that Neil Hamilton was in the original Brewster's Millions, ostensibly playing the exact same character that Pat Hingle played in the Brewster's Millions remake in 1984, 85, whenever it was. So
we haven't had these connections for a couple of episodes.
Yeah. And then beyond him, we also had... Ben McKenzie, Ryan from the OC is currently doing them on Gotham.
I'm glad to say I have no idea who that is.
Oh man, you weren't there in the mid 2000s, John. Oh, Ryan, he was every girl's dreamboat, as I recall.
Thank God I wasn't there.
But then Bob Hastings did him in the animated series. Did a great job. Bob Hastings, I think his seemed to be in a lot of things, but in things like McHale's Navy. But he was also in in episodes of Wonder Woman and Challenge of the Super Friends, which was like a animated Batman, Superman, Justice League kind of thing.
Ah, okay.
A fellow called Ted. Other people I'm not too familiar with, Ted Knight and Lenny Weinrib. But then apparently in the Batman cartoon from the mid-2000s, The Batman, he was played by Mitch Pileggi.
Oh.
Yeah, so I know you're a big X-Files guy. There you go. So.
Oh, that's amazing. I'm going to watch that right after this. I've got to.
But yeah.
What perfect casting.
Yeah, it does seem like, that's a great idea. Yeah, he would be a good Gordon. But and then in case people don't know, Mitch Pileggi played Skinner in the X-Files. So.
Oh, yeah. Skinner would always do this thing where he would start a sentence really loud, and by the end of the sentence be whispering. So he would start talking like this, Agent Mulder. It would just tail off every sentence. It's fantastic.
You see, that could work though for Commissioner Gordon, because it'll be like he knows he's going to turn around and Batman's not going to be there anymore, as is his usual way.
Yes.
And he's like, I'm not even going to pretend I'm finishing the sentence. Oh, like, oh yeah, so I'll see you soon, Batman. Yeah, you're gone.
Yeah, just tail off. That's great. Oh, get him in the next live action. Actually, how old is he now? No, hang on. He was in that new X-Files, wasn't he? Yeah.
Yeah, well, I don't think he's that old. I think about this.
No, he still looked good. He still looked in shape. He was a fit guy back in the day, you know.
But doing favors for bald men like us everywhere. Bald men with glasses. We think we should go people coming into our houses and just be a big portrait of Mitch Pileggi there. It's like, this is who we're basing ourselves on.
I'm not quite as masculine, I think.
Hey, not yet.
I'm far too geeky.
But then another notable bald man played him then. Played Commissioner Gordon, Kurtwood Smith.
Oh, yes.
As known to others as Clarence Boddicker in RoboCop, or Red Foreman in That 70s Show.
Well, That 70s Show taught me that Red was a name.
Yeah. I assumed it was short for something. Like his name might have been like Edward, but they called him Red because it had Ed in there.
It could be.
That.
But it's, I don't know, it seems like it's quite common, at least a nickname. In America. I don't know. Maybe it's an old one. But over here, you wouldn't hear someone called Red.
No,
that's not a name.
Although I do know, is it Neil on the Mogwai Minute? Shout out to the Mogwai Minute.
Yeah, check that out, definitely.
And I believe we've gone down scheduled. Future guest Neil Brown has said, I think he's said like, if he ever has a son, he's going to call him Red, so it'll be Red Brown, or Rusty, so it'll be Rusty
Brown. Yeah, I like Rusty Brown.
But then most recently, of course, J.K. Simmons is now doing in the upcoming Justice League film. Is now doing Gordon. Great casting.
Yeah,
apparently
that'll be good.
Apparently, the role was offered to Bryan Cranston, who would have been even better casting, and he actually already played Gordon in the animated version of Batman Year One. But apparently, he turned it down. So
that's a shame, because he was obviously, because of Breaking Bad, he was on the up, and then he's done a couple of things that haven't quite hit. And what's he doing now?
Well, I do know, actually, a person I've been trying to get on this podcast, my friend Tuye.
Bryan Cranston?
No, but she's doing, she works down for the major playhouse down in London. And she's really excited because apparently Bryan Cranston is doing a live stage version of Network from the old 70s movie. And she's always loved Network. For years I've known her, she's been quoting Network constantly online. And now she's getting to be part of the production in that, and Bryan Cranston's the lead, and she's like, this is the greatest thing that's ever happened to me, which is totally fair, because that would be amazing. So
yeah, I couldn't cope, I couldn't work, I'll be honest.
And then we got, of course, then the obvious, the big Gordon that everyone knows nowadays is Gary Oldman, who, bit of trivia, is actually younger than Gary Newman. So
okay, I did not know.
I was trying to make a joke because Gary Oldman, Gary Newman, but he's ironically younger than Gary Newman. It works. I think I put that up on Facebook once, and it killed. But it doesn't work as well when you're just pronouncing the names.
I'll give you that one. I'll give you that. Hang on, you knocked it out the park.
Hey. But that's it for today on Gordon Facts. So
Gordon Facts.
and I think we see him again in like 50 minutes or something. So maybe we'll get another Gordon Fact when it comes around to that.
That may be the one and only appearance of this segment on the show.
It's been like there's so many other things happening. It's like, oh wait, no, Gordon's in the background there. Time for Gordon Fact. But yeah, so that's all I got for this minute though. But we've got more to come up in the next minute now on Friday. So
yeah. Remember to check us out on Friday because we're going to have minute 30. So that's how have we got to 30? That's crazy. So yeah, make sure to send us messages online. We always like chatting with everybody on the Bat Minute 89 Listeners Society. That's got going now. That's pretty good. We've got some decent chat going back and forth. Quite a lot of followers. So become one of them. Become one of us. And tweet us because we always check out the Twitter at Batminute 89. And there's also Instagram and Tumblr. You can just look that up. That's fine. Whatever. Review us on iTunes. Rate us 5 stars. Do that, and we'll love you. We might even read it out on the show. Who knows if it's especially good. So yes, that's the end of the show. Join us again on Friday. Next time, hubble bubble, toil and trouble. As the bat makes an axis exit, what will a babbling basin of bubbling brew burp out to bespeak that Napier may not yet be belly up? Find out Friday. Same bat pod.
different Bat Minute.